Welcome back, everyone. I'm Mario, and I hope all of you are doing good. Yeah, it's been a while since my last video, so I thought to do something that we haven't done in a while, and that is sort of like this let's practice session where we're doing this sort of like random kit bash parts and just solving topology. This time, this video is not going to be sped up. I'm just going to go through everything in real time. So we're just going to cover basically booleans, how you can use booleans to create, let's say, this openings here. Then cleaning up the topology, how to clean up everything, and just to make it sort of like usable. And then we're going to subdivide everything just to make topology clean enough so that we can push the details forward. And basically that is all. The thing is, this video is going to be a bit faster in a sense of workload, that I'm not going to explain really everything that I'm doing here. Especially in the terms of tools, because if you checked, I'm not sure is it the video before this one or before that one, we had Intro to Hard Surface. So it's basically a full mini course where I covered every single tool that I'm using, some of the topology tricks and so on, including rendering and UVs. And on top of that, every single tool that we're using here, I also covered it in detail. So for example, if you're not sure how symmetry is working or extrusion and whatnot, there's a video on my channel called Extrude, Symmetry and so on, where you can check all those, let's say, details on how that operation functions. And then again, if you're interested in more advanced stuff or advancing your skills even further than that, we have a complete masterclass that basically is hand-holding you from beginning to the more advanced stuff, including the assignments, various tasks and whatnot. So feel free to check that out as well if you wish. So yeah, in case you have any questions about this, feel free to ask in the comment section down below and I'll be happy to answer. But for now, yeah, thank you for watching and let's begin. All right, so let's begin with the simple cube. So let's just add a cube to the scene, and the size-wise, let's say something like this, maybe a bit more in height. So let's say something like that. Yeah, something like that will work. Then let's go and select these two edges, use bevel, and let's say create something like that. And then we're going to, actually, I'm going to enable symmetry here on the world X and select these two edges and again bevel and add a couple of segments just to give it that more like kind of like CAD look. And the thing here, just a small tip, when you're using segments, just make sure that you're using the even number of segments, so 2, 4, 6 and so on, because it's just going to be that much easier to close all these segments here. So if you use, let's say, 1, 3, 5 and all, it's going to create n-gons and it's just going to be hard to close that down. So yeah, let's continue here doing the same thing. So here, let's do the same number of segments. So something like 4. So something like this will do. And yeah, so since we're here, we can also close the support loops. So let's do that real quick. So just select all of the outer edges here. So these right here. And this one and all of these. You don't have to actually do this manually. I sometimes prefer to do it like that. I don't know, force of habit. But let's go to uniform and create support loops like that. So I think this will be just fine. All right, so the next thing what we would need to do is add cylinders. So let's go to cylinder. And size, axis divisions, actually, I think 16 might be fine. Because the thing is, what we do not want to do is we don't want to do like 32 segments or let's say 6 segments. So 16 is sort of like middle ground, simply because it's going to be just much easier to, let's say, connect all the points. So if you have too much, let's say, points on the cylinder, that just simply means that you are going to have much more, you're going to need to have more effort, let's say, into connecting all these points together. And if you have too little, then again just means that you are going to have very, very little topology and not enough topology for details later. So now the thing is, what I'm trying to do is kind of like even out something here. So let's say something like this. We can decrease the size a bit more and actually I want to go here and now position it a bit better. So just that we have some sort of like planning ahead where we're going to connect some of the points, because we are going to have here these connections going down. So just kind of like that we have that part in mind. So let's say something like this will do. All right, so if you want to, now this would be a good time to create a save, just in case something goes off with booleans. So then we can select everything and go to booleans, difference a minus b, and then if necessary, we can now still adjust some parts. Let's say if we want to go this a bit more lower, or maybe if we want to increase the size of this one a bit more. So we can still do that. So let's say something like this will do. And then when we have satisfied, simply hit 2. That's actually my hotkey for deleting the history, but that is going to be under edit, delete all by type history. So you can set your own hotkey on this. Personally, again, I'm using number 2 for that. So just make sure again, edit, delete all by type history. That way you're going to confirm all the booleans. All right, so also one more tip. So for example, if you now notice that something is off with booleans as you're working, always what you can do is go new scene and then paste it there. So just a small tip, because sometimes you might gonna notice that after you apply booleans when you're working with, I don't know, topology or something, that mesh is getting a bit weird. So just a small tip there. All right, so now that we have that, another thing what we need to do is now add mid loops everywhere that we can. So we can use multicut for that, or simply connect components, whatever it's easier. So just connect all the points. And then after we're done with that, the thing that we need to do is just organize topology so that we get more like an even quads here. So we have here how many points? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. So let me try that. So let's go to edge loops here. Actually, select an edge and let's go to insert edge loop tool. And before we actually click on insert edge loop tool, let's go here to this little checkbox. And here let's set, I don't know, let's try 5 edges for now. And we're gonna have something like this, and then we're gonna try and connect these edges here. So what I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5. I'm not really sure, but let's leave it for that for now. Maybe with 4. Or let me actually see what would be kind of like better approach. So if we go here, okay, when this happens, let's leave this edge where it was, and then we're gonna remove it later. So let's say, I don't know, something like that, and then this one will go there, and here we're gonna have, let me connect this one for now here, and then let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 is fine. So let's go to again here, 5 edges, and then start connecting. So okay, if that also happens, try multicut instead. So that was connect components. All right, so actually, yeah, let's use 4. So now when I see it, so let's use 4. Insert edge loop tool, edge loops, 4 edge loops, and connect again, just these 4. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So we have 4 here, and then we have this one that will go here somewhere, like here. I don't know, that's gonna be fine, I guess. Then this one will go all the way down. And again, multi-cut and holding shift and control to create this loop. And again, let's just add 4 loops here too. And now we can delete this one because we don't need that one. And let's see here on the top. So we're gonna have this one going there. This one going here. This one, then we can connect to this one. This one we can connect to this one. This becomes an extra because this is a result of the Boolean. And then this one we can start connecting down. So maybe even we can connect this one to here and push it to one ahead. So this is kind of like just basically you just need to find the best way to organize this that you get sort of like the most cleanest geometry out of this whole. And then this one will go maybe here. And then this one we can connect there in the middle. And actually let's connect also this one because now this is going to be a huge gap. So for that reason, I just want to connect it to here instead. Actually connect it, yeah, there instead, and connect this one to here. And connect this one to here better. All right, so something like that. And then we're gonna have enough edges here to close on this one. Yeah, so maybe it's better just to leave it like that. All right, so also doesn't matter what we have on the other side because we can just disable symmetry and detach here everything. So we can select this part and simply delete. And now we can work safely only on one side. So this one can go here. This one will go till here. So maybe we can even that out a bit more. And yeah, then this connects to there. And so now if you want to, now again, we can connect this one to here, get 2 times quads, or we can continue closing it like this. So we now get, let's say, one more edge loop here. But also one other thing I want to mention is leaving it, for example, like this in an n-gon. It's not going to be that big of a deal because we're going to still subdivide it. So for now, I'm going to leave it, and I'm just going to continue clearing out the remaining. So also one small kind of thing worth mentioning here, just because kind of like I'm recording this and trying to talk at the same time. It does seem maybe a bit slow, but usually this goes much faster. So let's add here a loop and connect this and connect this. And then later what we're going to do is just we're going to select all these edges here and just even it out so that we have more of an angle there. Same thing here. And so we can connect this one to there, and yeah, like that. And like I mentioned, now what we can do, let's say this is going to be bottom, so I don't think I'm going to do much there, so we can just close it like that. And if I change my mind, we can still fix that later. The only problem is, for example, now this edge loop will create something like this. So what we can do is just remove, actually, let me see. So yeah, this now needs to be removed. And this needs to be so like connected here on the top to get the same loop what we have down. All right, so we dealt with that. So let's now continue here. So we're gonna need, let's say, connect this one to there, connect this one to here, and then close it here in the middle. And then this one will go down. And now we'll have here situation where, let's say, I don't know, connect it down as well. So here we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. So we're gonna need 4 edges here in the middle as well. So let's go to edge loops and add 4. And actually, before we do that, I'm just gonna push this one a bit here. So now we have something like that. All right, continuing on. We're going to have then this one connecting to here, this one connecting to here. I believe that's correct. And then this one goes down. This one goes down, and here also what I forgot is actually that we're going to have a different type of connection, and that connection is going to be this one. And then we're going to need one more edge loop here actually to go all the way around. And the reason why we're going to need, because now we have here an angle. So this needs to be closed here, and this needs to be closed here. All right, so we're gonna still reorganize that a bit, and then we're gonna have kind of like a similar situation here on the top, where this connects here, and again, gonna need one extra edge loop here, and then one extra edge loop that goes here. And this one also needs to be connected on the top. And so basically, here, this is the part where I would definitely recommend doing these kind of practices, because on these small sort of like kit bash parts, you really get to sort of like explore topology and what kind of situations you get out of it, and how you can actually make it all look cleaner. So in this case, what I would like to do is just remove these edges. So sometimes removing edges is just going to be that much easier than adding new ones, because okay, so actually I want to delete these and delete these and just make sure that the least points. And what we said that now we have actually 6 edges there, so we're gonna need to use insert edge loop tool and then use 6 edges. And now we need to connect everything back, because now we added two new ones here. And we have also one on the top. So we're just trying to, again, to even everything out. But what I was saying is these kind of exercises are going to be great if you're sort of like, let's say, practicing topology and just want to improve your topology skill, because it is going to force you to sort of like search for situations that are, let's say, optimal for the situations that you want to do, or that you get cleaner geometry. And yeah, it's just going to be really, really great practice on not so complex, I would say, objects. So, oops, that's not what I want to do. So the thing now, what I want to do is just, again, push this a bit more up, this 2, and this 2, so that here we have enough space to maybe add 2 edge loops. So something like that. And yeah, we need to still close this one. But the same thing now, what we had on the other side, I will actually delete here everything. So small tip, you can also delete, let's say, edges like this. And then Control delete the rest. And then now we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges here. And actually 6, because this one will continue down as well. So we have 6 edges again in total. So edge loops, and actually not that one. Insert edge loop tool, Control right click. And then here we're going to use 6 edges. And again, just simply connect them all together. So connect here, connect here. So usually when we want to clean topology, it's going to be easier sometimes to remove the edges. For example, like in this case, just remove the edge and then bring it back. You're gonna get much more cleaner result. So now if you really want to, now you can go even further just to clean this everything up a bit more. I'm not sure if I really want to do that now, because like I said, this work is sort of like, it can get slightly tedious. So what I would do instead is just, let's say again, delete. Again, I can show you really quick. So let's just delete the top. And the reason why we delete the top is because I want to leave those edges where they are and just add new ones once I'm satisfied. Let's say that I push this one to the side. And this would be sort of like that kind of cleanup work that you would do just to organize everything a bit better. And connect here, and connect everything else. So again, this is kind of like that tedious work, but it's going to be very, very important down the line if you want to have very, very clean results. So let's add here bevel. So something like that. And let's add here on the top bevel too. And actually, let's select, it's going to be easier if you just select this one and chamfer it like this. So we get that. And let's go to mirror. And there we go. So now we have pretty clean start. So the thing here is, for example, now, like I mentioned before, if you notice that you have sort of like areas that can be sort of like better balanced, we can still do that. So let's say I will remove this, and we are going to have an N-gun here. But the thing is, let me do the same thing on the other side as well. So I actually want to have here one more edge loop and here one more. Again, that will go all the way till here, which we did not complete. Because we are going to subdivide this one more time. And once we subdivide this N-gun is going to sort of like fix itself on its own. So let's add 2 new edge loops here. Because on the other side, we still have one edge loop open, and I did not enable my symmetry here. So we have that, and yeah, so here we need to still connect these. All right, and like I mentioned now, for this area right here, since, I don't know, we could technically connect this also to here and give it sort of like more structure here in the middle, and just leave an N-gun and let it subdivide, and then sort of like fix it like that. So I don't know, I think this is gonna be fine, because actually I'm gonna show you what happens when you have an N-gun there. All right, so also this will be now a good time to create a save, and I'm not sure what happened here, so let me also delete these parts and connect this in the middle. Delete the middle and disable symmetry, and again create one more cut here in the middle, and there we go. All right, so this would be now a good time to create another save because we are going to now subdivide this. So just in case, let's say you want to fix something, let me actually enable symmetry. So just in case something goes off, you can always come back and work on the save. Also, before we do that, let's just apply a Brilliant material. And I'm going to apply a chrome. So chrome, this is something that's going to be very, very shiny, just that we can sort of like double check on all the edges that we have, that we have a proper edges, that we don't have any kind of distortion and whatnot. So yeah, like I mentioned, this is now a good time if you want to create a save, and if not, just smooth it out, and then we're gonna have much more geometry to play around with. So think of it as a kind of like ZBrush sculpt, where if you're sculpting on a low resolution, you're not going to have good visible details. And same thing is going to be here. If you really want to have sharp details, then you are going to subdivide. You are going to need to subdivide this part. So also what I mentioned before, if you remember, we had an n-gun here. So what it's going to happen with n-gun when we smooth this out is that we are going to have that n-gun resolved into quads. So yeah, so now we can start and try to find kind of like interesting looking areas to add some kind of detailing. And actually, you know what? Here we can actually stick to very simple detailing. So it's going to be easily repeatable. So just in case, I'm not sure how long this video is going to be because we are already around like 25-30 minutes. So in case that this gets longer, that you can also easily repeat, even though let's say we kind of like speed up the footage at the end. So so something like this, it's maybe a bit too thick. So let's thin that out a bit. Let's use an offset here, and I'm just going to use scale and then scale it maybe from here. Push it down a bit, and let's call it A. So something like this. Something like that, let's say. Since we're here, let's use one more detail here. So from here till here. And first what I like to do is just even this out so that we have a straight line there. So from here till here. And let me also go disable symmetry and scale this on the inside and actually scale on the outside so that we get proper edge here, and then later we can just enable symmetry again, select this edge here, which I'm not able to select, and just slide it back into place. Something like that, and there we go. And also now, for example, if we want to have more of a cleaner geometry here, so let me select here now everything. And what I mean by cleaner geometry is that we have much more of a sharper corner. In that case, we are going to need to do this a bit differently. So do our select typical redirection. So where this goes here. This is okay. So let me actually add a loop here before we do anything else. And connect this to here, and there we go. So now we have our proper redirection. And gonna get sharper corner here. And now the matter is just connecting all the pieces on the inside. So this one will go to here, this one to here, this one to here, and there we go. So now we have something like that. All right, so moving forward, so I don't know, let's do the same thing here on the back, just for the sake of, let's say, a continuously. So from here to, let's say, here. And also just make sure to, like, whenever you're creating details like that, to take some time to actually, let's say, organize the edges that you want to do details on, because it's just going to be that much cleaner. Because, for example, if you leave all this wobbly edges there, it just might not look as clean. So if you can, just kind of like clean up the edge. So for example, if you're planning to do, let's say, a detail here, let's say I want to do a detail, I don't want to really leave all the edges wobbly like that, and even if they're a bit under the angle. So rather what I would do is just select everything here from, let's say, from here to here, use the scale tool, shift control, and then slide it into place. So shift control and then slide it into place, and then you're gonna have much more of an even edge. Also, small note, I'm not sure if I mentioned that in the beginning, just as a small heads up. If this kind of like feels too fast or too complicated or anything that it's kind of like not beginner friendly, please note that I have here on my channel introduction to Maya, including all the tools that I'm using. So including the extrude, bevel, slide, absolutely every single operation that I'm using here, I covered in great detail. And on top of that, we're gonna have actually here on YouTube as well, there's going to be a intro to hard surface, I believe the series is called. And there you can also check absolutely every single tool that we're using, because we are going very, very slow, and also how we approach the topology and whatnot, just in case you're not familiar with the tools. Here's more about the workflow and not so much as the tools. So I'm just going to assume that we are already familiar with all the tools that we're using. So here you also notice one thing, what's happening. So two ways to fix this. Sometimes you're going to maybe need to remove parts from the groups. And if that doesn't fix it, so for example, let's see. So, okay, so in this case, this fixed it. But if that doesn't fix that, so what you're gonna need to do is just add a new cube to the sphere, connect it together. So go to combine, actually combine objects together. And in that case, it should work. And then later you can just remove that object. But again, keep an eye on your outliner, because it's gonna create some additional stuff there as well. Okay, let's now do one more stuff here. I don't know, actually similar type of detail. And this can go maybe here. Like this. Or let's do it actually a bit further away. So let me undo this. So I want from here actually to here. And also, yeah, that's one thing that I see often is attachment to designs, or attachments to whatever we do. So for example, if you see an area that you can improve, or if you see an area where you can add better details, it's just going to be much more worth it to go, let's say, one step back, fix what we needed to fix, and then continue moving forward, than actually continue moving forward knowing that we could have actually created something much better. So I don't know, I maybe want to have a detail like this here. Let me just see how that might look. It's all right, so let's continue with that. So just gonna add support loop here and support loop there. Tighten it up. And there we go with that. All right, so let's now see. Okay, so here also one more tip is, for example, let's say that I want to have a straight line here, and we have all the edges that are actually not going in a straight line. So what you can do is you can select, let's say, I want to keep this, or I want to even this one out. So let's say I want to have this as a straight edge. So everything here in the middle, I'm going to just simply hit delete. And then I can safely delete, actually control delete the rest. And then kind of like the similar thing here on the top. So for example, if I want to, can remove these two as well. So let's say a few more. Delete this one, and then add one edge loop here, and then create it also in a straight line. Bring it up as much as I can till, let's say, here. And then basically we can now connect our edges back. And then if necessary, we can redirect. So here we're gonna have 1, 2, 3 edges. So 1, 2, 3. So we can connect these together, actually like that. So connect components and connect components. All right, so and now we have here a straight path, and then we can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges. So again, let's go to our insert edge loop tool, and here let's say reset tool, and we need multiple splits, 5 edges, and there we go. So just connect everything back. And yeah, so now it's just going to be the matter of whatever detail we want to put in here. So for example, I don't know. All right, so maybe also want to even out this one here. And then we have, let's say from here, this kind of connection. And again, just to even everything out, connect all to here. And the thing is, the triangles are really not, again, like I mentioned, the triangles in this case are not that big of a deal. And again, the same thing, like whenever we have this sort of like wiggly lines or wiggly looking edges, we can fix that. And let me see here. So let me try actually how that looks. And yeah, so let's select these till here, and now all the way till the middle. All of these parts, and then what we can do is scale this. And again, if this is happening, also try to delete history, because maybe deleting history also helps. The thing what I want to do now is disable symmetry and maybe start again from the middle and maybe push this a bit more on the inside. Just get an interesting looking angle there. Let's see how that looks. All right, so let's just continue. So I don't want to waste too much time here. I just want to go through the motion, because sometimes, for example, if let's say creating a part like this, what it's going to happen is that probably, let me actually undo this because I need to do something easier. And that is here, do an edge loop. Sometimes what's going to happen is that what you want to actually do is recreate the parts multiple times, especially let's say if you're practicing, because the second time, let's for example, now in my case here, we're trying to recreate a part while recording and talking at the same time. So let's say that you're watching a tutorial, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to watch the tutorial, you're going to watch the video, and at the same time, you're going to try to recreate something where the results might not look the way you want to. So that is kind of like the part where you actually want to redo something, because now second time you're already familiar with how everything looks and feels. So you might have sort of like that advantage where you don't need to think about certain things that second time. So all right, so this is looking decent so far. So what we can do here is we can start adding sort of like a small like holes here everywhere. But before we do that, let's do one more thing, and that is going to be, let's say, detachment of this part right here. So let's add one loop here in the middle. So I'm gonna bevel this, and let's use extrude, push this in, and then we're going to delete the middle, simply because I want to have two objects here. So when you delete the middle, then you can always select the object and then extract faces, delete the history, and then now we have two objects. So in case you want to have two different materials, it's going to be very, very convenient for that. So here on the inside, what we can do, let me ask, okay, maybe let me try here two edges. So something like this. And just to make it look a bit more interesting, let's add just the same thing. Like, I don't know, push this on the inside. So we're gonna just use repeating details, nothing overly too complex. And maybe actually just add one edge loop here, one edge loop there. All right, that will do. So let's actually select this and then bevel this all the way till here. And then I can select actually from here till, let's say here, and use scale as extrude and then push this out. So I don't know, get something like this maybe. I don't know, that might work. just so that we get some sort of sense of complexity in this area. So here maybe we can also just scale this slightly, add a small bevel, and just let me try to do it one more time. So select everything, scale, but from the middle this time. And then let's do bevel and leave it like that. So yeah, just that we get, like I mentioned, some sort of complexity here on the inner part. So just in case, let's say that we are rendering this as a separate piece, because in many situations, probably this is going to be covered with a cylinder. So yeah, speaking of cylinder, let's create something interesting here on the top, and then we're just gonna add funnel here, like hole openings and whatnot. So now to create a cylinder here, we can do it a couple of ways. So one way being is that what we can do is, let's say, select a brand new cylinder. Let's say again 16, or I don't know, maybe 28 sides this time. Hit apply, scale it. And then what we can do is just holding V on your keyboard. It's going to be hotkey for snap to points. And then you can simply snap it to the midpoint. So as you can see here, holding V is just going to snap, and you can snap it in the middle and then increase the size, and you have a brand new cylinder. Alternative, for example, if you're kind of like in top spot, what you can do is also duplicate face, and then what you can do, let's say, quickly extrude this, delete everything else, reverse normals, and then you have a quick cylinder. And then you can simply scale this on the inside, merge, let's show you one more time. So scale this on the inside without symmetry being applied. So extrude, and then merge, collapse edges, merge edges to center, and then you're gonna get quick cylinder like that as well. So we can also start fresh, so just for the sake of it. So let me just push this all together like this. And what we can do is add minor bevel here. So something like this. And we can maybe also increase it slightly. And let's go to edge mode, and I'm going to use this part to create a small hole here. So G to repeat the operation, G one more time to push it in to create another support loop, and then we can maybe even delete this on the inside, and there we go. So we have, let's say, something like that. All right, so what we can do also is now populate this with edges, and here use one mid loop to create, let's say, cut in the middle. Need symmetry back and scale this on in. So as you can notice, we are just basically repeating the same detailing, just for the sake of speed. Okay, so here we have a bottom, which I don't need. And again, here we have a triangle, which you can fix if you really want to, but on a small, let's say small surfaces, or where no deformation is seen, it's really, I don't know, it's really not necessary. All right, so here I have my material. All right, let's do, let's say, a few more detailing here. So what we can do is, let's say, from here till here, here till here, something like that. Let's scale this, push this maybe slightly in, just to break that angle, and maybe not as much on the inside. All right, something like that. And to make it maybe even more interesting, what we can do is select these parts and just scale those as well. So let's say something like this. But actually here what I would like to do is maybe push it more on the inside. Let me just see here how I actually feel about this part. This is maybe a bit sharp. So I'm just gonna put one edge loop in the middle. And this also feels a bit too sharp, so one edge loop in the middle, just to smoothen out that bevel there. So now we can try to do this detail again. And actually maybe what I would like to do here is scale it in, push it in. Let's say like this, scale it maybe one more time. And then extrude it on the inside, something like that. And yeah, just add all those support loops where necessary. So yeah, I don't know, something like that. And here now we can slowly start adding those circular details. So let's go to circulars components. And there we go. So yeah, so what I would do now is just start adding sort of like these kind of like circular details everywhere, just to give it that kind of sort of sense of complexity, so to say. And maybe one more detail we can push in here. Let me just try to even this out. And then I'm gonna just leave the footage sped up a bit, because we are slowly getting in on close to an hour here. And yeah, it's gonna be very, very repetitive. So I think I'm just gonna then speed it up. So yeah, let's say this part right here. We select this and choose the pivot somewhere like here, and then simply scale it down and apply support loops. And then we're gonna have sort of like an opening here. And yeah, just I would now continue start adding those kind of like small holes on the rest of the part. So yeah, let's go and do that. All right, so here I see a potential maybe for another detail that we can add. So just quickly skipping ahead. So yeah, same procedure as before, just making sure that all the edges here are sort of like straighten up, and this one on the top too. So let's say from here, let's actually try from the top here. So just straighten this one. And let's just cut from, let's say here, oops, from, yeah, here till here. And actually we can just use tab to select everything. And small extrude and then delete. Basically with small extrude, we're just creating support loops. And we're gonna create here a fill hole and just hit G to repeat the operation. And actually here, use bridge, not fill hole. So G to hit the operation. All right, so now we just need to bring back the edges that we took out. So insert edge loop tool, I think that was 7 edges there. And just connect them back, and then we're gonna redo the support loop. All right, so it even can stay like that, but if you want to sharpen it up, then we can just add one more now, support loop in the middle. So I'm going to quickly show you how you can do that. So first we need to remove the outer one, and just by connecting the points, and then we can deselect everything and then select everything one more time again like this, and then simply create a new loop that's gonna also be a loop on the inside as well. And there we go. So now another thing is, again, if you want to have this even sharper, then we're just going to need to do our redirection and connect these on these edges, but I think it's not necessary and that it's looking decent as it is. So, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I wouldn't take this anymore further, simply because this video turned out to be pretty long already. So maybe one final tip is, if you want to introduce some of kind of like asymmetry to the object. So just quickly a small example. Let's say if you're creating again a quick circle or something, just that it breaks that symmetrical part. So didn't want to do that. I just want to use relative offset and add one edge right here. So something like that, basically, just something to have that breaks the symmetry. That's kind of like the only thing. This is now maybe a bit too sharp. So something like this maybe. And yeah, there we go. That's kind of it. So like I mentioned, now what I would do here, for example, if this is now, let's say, just as a practice, what you can do if, let's say, you're not satisfied with the result first time, because first time, especially while following video tutorial or something, things can slightly, you know, kind of like get off. But if you, let's say, try to do it one more time, you're gonna see that next time you're gonna have much more clear idea in which direction you headed, so you're not going to do a lot of, let's say, repetitive actions as you did so far. And usually this sort of like small kit bash parts are great exercises, because again, you're just training out your topology skills on one end, and on the other end you will still be using these parts somewhere. So whatever, let's say you have either, I don't know, let's say robotic, just something you want to do transition, let's say from this part to the lower part, this can be used for that. Now you can use, let's say, this cap can be also reused. So for example, if you need to close specific part somewhere, you can also reuse this cap. You don't need to model it one more time. So even if we kind of like scale that out, you still be able to, I don't know, reuse these parts for something. So whatever you do, it's not going to go to waste. So you are going to reuse them in one way or the other. So all right, so now I'd like to show another approach which may be easier. I don't know, depending on situations, you might be using one or the other, but definitely, let's say, the first approach that we did just now with the booleans, that one, let's say, in the terms of practicing, just pure practice and pure topology, let's say, exploration, it's going to be much more beneficial, simply because you are going to sort of like learn how to find patterns and find solutions for situations you're in topology wise. This approach is, let's say, more cleaner. You're not going to basically going to skip all of that stuff, and you're going to go directly into let's say modeling. So it's going to be more like methodical. You're just going to, let's say, observe the object that you created, and then you're going to say, okay, what would be, let's say, the quicker or simpler, more easier way to recreate that part. Or let's say you find this is what we just made on Pinterest, and then in terms of thinking how to approach this, maybe this would be the approach. But let's say if you're exploring the shapes and you're just exploring with booleans, trying to do let's say some quick concepting, then probably the first approach is going to be the one that you're going to take. So like I mentioned, it's going to be very, very situational. But let's say this is now our situation here. So what we are going to do this time, we are not going to be using booleans, so no booleans this time, but instead what we're going to do is just, let's say, pretend this is the area we're going to need to have like punch a hole through. So we're just going to be also prepared for that. So here we already have most of the edges selected. So in this case, we can do the same thing what we did before. We can do small fraction here. With this minor difference is that this time we're coming in prepared that we're going to do these sort of angles, and basically this angle now means that we are going to immediately connect all the let's say edges the way we want to. So now we are connecting this part like this, and we already have everything prepared. So now what we need to do is connect quads. So just find quads everywhere and connect quads. So again, this is going to be now first connection. Also what we need, again, like previously, we just need to find middle, create mid cut wherever we can. So I'm gonna actually show you just till here how you can get all the topology out, and then from this point on, it's basically just continuing doing the same detailing forward. So basically, if you wish, you can also take this approach, but like I mentioned, for the sake of practice, I definitely recommend just using the first one, just to get more comfortable with topology and finding all these patterns where to connect something and stuff like that. So connecting this to here. And yeah, so here, now this one would also go to the top, this to the middle, and same thing on the other side. Also, now since you notice that this object is sort of like symmetrical, you can, let's say, cut it in half here too. So let's say cut it here in half, and then flip it on the other side. Basically this one, flip on the other side and just reverse it. So you can also work like that. So whatever it's easier for you. But this is sort of like the purpose of these exercises, that you just explore that, just various workflows, see what's faster, see what's not faster, and why is it faster, what's more efficient, and so on. So we are closing this here. We still can leave this open for now. And okay, so here I have something open here. Oh, okay, so this needs to be all connected together, and I can add loop here, loop, and so on. So loop here, actually here again something is left open. So whatever you see here that, for example, loop is not connecting, that means that you have somewhere something open. And I don't know, so this is now the case again where we can connect this like here, or connect it here in the middle, and then continue way up, and then we get more topology. For now, I'm going to leave it like this and just want to show you what I mean. So now here we have our cylinder, and basically now what we would do is just create a hole from the topology that we have. So in this case, I'm not sure is really, I don't know, I would just increase the level of topology so we are more prepared on that. And yeah, so for example, now you can see now it's a good time maybe to add that extra edge loop, and then the topology is basically sort for ourselves. So now we have a quad here, and this goes there. This goes here, and we have a quad there. So we have already like clean topology here, and continue on this other side too, and here too. So just connect here and connect here. All right, so now when we have that, now it's just a matter of, well, yeah, let's just find a place where we can, say, cut the circle out. So let's say here in the middle is where it's sort of like fitting for us. And I just want to make sure that all these points are merged to center. So this one, this one, this one. It's not working. All right, so if not, we're gonna fix it later. Basically, now what we can do is select all of these parts. So everything on the inside. Doesn't matter, we're gonna fix the proportions later. Offset, and then circulate components. Yeah, so here is that problem. Let me solve that problem first. So connect all the points here, one, here connected, and here it's connected. Okay, so now everything is fine. Okay, I can reselect this because for some reason merge vertices did not really work there. So select everything, and we are going to actually now use circular components. And let's twist it around this area, and we can increase, we're gonna delete this and slightly increase the offset. So let's delete this. It's not the same on the other side, so I'm just gonna work on 1/2. All right, so now what we can do is just slightly start pushing these parts on the side just to make room for our cylinder. And also maybe we can remove these two for now. These two for now, and just create a nice opening here. All right, so just again, small minor cleanup because I have some overlapping points here. And basically, yeah, that should more or less do it, because now you can really like clean it that you have this file. That doesn't matter if you can triangles. And the thing is, even if, for example, here, you have a triangle, let's say, that doesn't matter. You can simply remove that triangle and then redo the circle. And then now you have also more space, let's say, to reposition that circle properly. Even doesn't matter if you have here the triangles, it's still a flat surface, so it's not going to be that much of a big impact. And basically now we can just bring this back. So bring back to mirror, and we just need to connect these back together. And basically, this is now the way, let's say, how you have a quick, let's say, quicker circle with not so much topology workaround. So it's basically, it would be working more like that. So to simplify it even more, I'm going to show you this on a plane, what we did here. So you would have a plane. And let's say now you're trying to create a circle on the inside of that plane. To avoid, let's say if you have large stretched areas, so I'm going to show you maybe like this also. To avoid, let's say, a stretched area here on the side, if you have a lot of topology, you're going to notice that it's going to be stretched if you create a circle. So you're going to notice here that it's one, let's say, polygon size. Here's a bit more stretched. So basically, to avoid that, what you can do is then, let's say, add, let me see, just to make stuff visually easier, you can add these kind of connections. So like create circle like this, and then what you're going to do is just connect all the points. So let me try again. So merge vertices, merge vertices, merge vertices, and then this is now your circle. From here, then you're not going to have that that stretching. So I'd say let's use an offset, and then circulus components. Just twist it a bit. And there you go. So then this becomes sort of like an extra, whatever we created. So we can terminate these. So all of these edges, actually all of these points can be terminated here on the inside. And there you go. So now we have more, let's say, cleaner area, and you don't have that let's say stretching that I showed you. Basically the same procedure we did here, just a bit kind of like, I don't know, sloppier, I would say, but you can still clean this up a little bit more if you want to. And basically now the same process that we did here would go here on the top. So you would just select an area where you want. So here it was actually two edge loops. So now you would select an area where you would like to have the circle. So again, this was sort of like the guide where the circle will come. And you can do the same. So you can cut it out like that, or you can just leave it if it doesn't bother you. So circulus components, twist, and extrude it in. So basically now you have, and then we just need to still merge its vertices, and there we go. So now we just again need to add support loops, and basically from here we can start doing those details. But yeah, like you notice now, even on the simple objects like this, there's still a lot of things to explore and a lot of stuff that you can do, and a lot of different approaches that you can take on. So the more you practice, the more kind of like gonna find the golden middle, or whatever fits best for you, or whatever is making your workflow that much faster. So yeah, in any case, I hope that this clear some things. In case you have any questions, like I mentioned before, feel free to ask anything in the comment section down below, and I'll be happy to answer if I can. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next time.